Alright, so got a couple things to unbox today. It's been a while. Still not quite ready to move forward with like gameplay videos and things. I think that'll just help me in the future. It'll help me teach when when with my friends, just help teach the game better. Got a few games. Well, they're expansions really. Got one game. Got Battlestar Galactica. I know I'm kind of late to the game on that. I'm very late to the game on that. It's just that people in my gaming group that I was going to, a lot of people had it, and there were a couple people who really knew the game, and so there was really no point in me having my own copy because my friends at the time were not playing super heavy games. We were really specifically collecting, the certain types to our liking, and so I started collecting games that were, or not really collecting games. I play my games, but I started picking up games that had single playability or solo playability rules, not variants, but like actual. The games were designed to play single player. Because I find you can find solo variants, or you can find games that have like like the Kickstarters that you have that they have solo rules like as stretch goals, and those rules turn out to be not super awesome. So, but if you pick up a game that has solo, like intentionally created solo rules, I found the gameplay to be much better. Anyway, so I picked up Battlestar Galactica because my gaming group, I finally, my circle of friends have started dabbling in other, have been looking towards, I think, that kind of gameplay. It's the way, if you're not familiar, the way Battlestar Galactica works, hidden role game, team game. You have some people playing Cylons, and one or two people, or maybe none. It's you can totally randomize it and not seed that in the. I mean, you do seed it into the rules deck, but since they're handed out randomly, there isn't always a traitor. There isn't always a Cylon in there. But we got to the point where I think it would be a good fit for us, and the people that I know who have it have not really been playing with my closer circle of friends. So I finally decided, oh, you know what, maybe I can just get it. And then, it's January 2018, and when I started looking around, it was around Christmas, and I noticed, I'm sure as a lot of the fans, I noticed that Battlestar Galactica is it's hard to find now. Back, I don't know, maybe in November, there are lots of stores who had it, and it still cost what, like $60-$70 at a lot of places. I don't know what the MSRP is on it, but I'm pretty sure the going rate at Amazon of $150 plus for the core set is not anywhere near the MSRP for the game. So I went to a local game store, the Game Lodge. These fine folks who gave me this lovely playmat. Again, I have to, for people who are just stumbling upon my video, I don't work for them. I'm friends with the owners of the store, and they happen to have a. They don't even sell these playmats. My friend made one for himself just to see to try out the service making the playmats, and I asked if I could have one. So anyway, they happen to have a copy, and it was like $40. So I'm like, yeah, I'm getting that. But now I'm tempted to sell it again. So we'll see. I'll see who I can get to play with me, and if it turns out the group I'm with really don't want to play it, then maybe I'll just sell mine. We'll go on tabletop simulator, or I'll ask a friend that I know who owns the game if they're willing to loan it out, or if they're willing to bring it to a gaming thing and show it to the rest of my friends. we'll see how they like it, and if they do, if it looks like something we can get to the table, 2-3 times a year, I think that'll be a good buy. So yeah, I'll crack it open. So in the meantime, I've been really getting into the DC deck builders. I have 3 now, maybe 4. My brother has the Forever Evil one where you're playing villains trying to defeat the heroes, and I really like the gameplay of that. The whole broken theme thing, I know it sort of seems to work better for the villains, I think. And what is it? Oh well, I mean, I have other sets. I have the Attack on Titan. I have the Naruto set, and I also have the Rick and Morty, which is the latest one. And I think because theme is kind of important to me, but the gameplay, the nice thing about the DC deck builder is it has a lot of extra content. And the extra content seems to work better with that stuff than like the theme specific sets, like Street Fighter, for example, right? They have a lot of like DC, kind of like the Marvel Legendary, the original one, with all the Marvel heroes and stuff. It just seems like, if you look at like the Legendary Encounters, the Aliens has one expansion. I mean, Marvel Legendary also has one expansion where you're like the mastermind, right? But they also have like the Spider-Man Homecoming, the X-Men set you can add to it, and all that, and Naruto and Rick and Morty, and the other more specific sets do not have those added expansions. I mean, you really don't need it. I think they stand just fine on their own, even though it's part of that service engine. You can mix and match stuff. I don't think it actually I don't think you can actually really mix and match those exactly like you could with the original, with the DC Comics superheroes. So, anyway, I watched a few reviews of different sets just out of curiosity, and I found that I was really intrigued by the Watchmen. Now, just so you guys know, I'm not a huge comic book fan. That's why I started with Sentinels of the Multiverse. That's why I kind of dove into like the other DC deck building games, because I'm not like a huge comic book fan. And the like Naruto, I watched anime, I like that. I watched Rick and Morty, I enjoyed the show. And Attack on Titan, I watched that too. So, and I think the theme actually works better for those IPs, and the gameplay. It's a little bit more fitting, and if theme is important to you, those offshoots. I don't know about Street Fighter. I've never played that one. I played the video game, and I've watched the really dumb movies. So, yeah, I couldn't tell you about the theme for that, but, I'm kind of over the whole, why is Superman using the Batarang? He doesn't need it. I'm kind of over that now, but knowing that I have other games where the theme works out better, then that's fine with me. So anyway, I looked up the Watchmen expansion pack just out of curiosity, and I watched the Board Game Brawl one. And I saw that, not only could you add extra characters, which I have, right? So here's extra cards, the equipment. You got the Owl Mask, Rorschach Mask, and the Owl Ship. You have a few heroes, a couple of them, some locations, which actually the artwork's the same. But you got the locations, some superpowers, a little bit of everything. That's Watchmen theme. This is on the comics, of course, not on the movie. You have some of the characters: Night Owl, Ozymandias, right? Rorschach, Dr. Manhattan, the Comedian, and Silk Spectre. What sort of drew me to this was the because at the time I was playing a lot of hidden role games, hidden trader type stuff, and you have that option here to play. So you have like loyalty cards. You can play co-op, all versus one, like a hidden villain that they can reveal themselves later, or you can play against like everyone plays against, the big villain, right? So it could be like a co-op. Everyone plays against these replace the villains. They're like challenges they can complete. So I was kind of like really intrigued with that, and even though this doesn't like really fit in with Naruto or Attack on Titan, in fact, Attack on Titan is like quite unique, all on its own. But like, Rick and Morty plays generally the same. It's just the theming there is a little bit more cohesive than the earlier iterations of the game. But the fact that it adds, I mean, you can just take this, and we don't even have to play with these cards. We could just take the challenge levels here, and then the hidden roll and whatnot things, mastermind plots. We can take this part and just use that as mechanics to the other games, right? So these are not like theme specific because the artwork is not there. They're like could be anything, right? So I think that would work, and it was inexpensive. It cost a little more than the other ones would, probably because of the Watchmen popularity of the Watchmen stuff. But yeah, I think it's a nice addition and a nice variant, that we can play with the existing games. Okay, so that's that one. And then the second expansion I have, actually this was the first one. I happened to pick up the Watchmen expansion while I was at the store today. We have Shadowrift, the ArchFiends expansion. So essentially what this does is turn, it gives content to Shadowrift, which I actually have not played in a while. But it gives content to Shadowrift that basically turns that into Aeon's End, which I also have. After the Aeon's End update, they had some expansion came out, and I forgot what it was because I didn't back it, my friend backed it. And after the update, he essentially got like upgraded pieces plus all the 2.0, the sequel. It's like the sequel, but they also have like I guess an optional upgrade pack for the original game. So he basically had two the same game, right? Because the sequel completely replaces the original, and then updates the content. And the original, they gave there's a few like errated components, I guess, and from what he told me. And so, anyway, so he ended up with two Aeon's Ends, basically. And so he gave me one, because he didn't need the other one. Or he didn't need the original one anymore, because he had the updated one, with all the old content that has been updated, plus the additional things. And so, well, I mean, it doesn't exactly turn Shadowrift into Aeon's End, but it plays a little bit more like it, because, like, the Aeon's End has a big bad with all his minions and stuff. So I tend to understand games more on how, like, if I can relate it to another one, I can explain it better, I guess. But actually I have Heroes of Metro City, and disregarding the dice rolling mechanic they have for like the city destruction part, I would actually say that Aeon's End plays more like Heroes of Metro City. But since that's not a game that really went into wide release, I mean, Heroes of Metro City did, but it's one of those games I couldn't recommend without the sidekicks and storylines, which I did back. That's the expansion. That kind of fixed the brokenness of the original game. And plus, you got a lot of nice, like, dividers and things like that. A nice new box where all the cards stayed put. But yeah, it plays more like that because in Aeon's End, one of the primary mechanics, when it's a fantasy game, you cast spells and you have to prepare them for use for the following round. So you couldn't use them the round that they came out, and so you had these breaches. They call breaches, and they're like prep stations for your spells. And the similar part with heroes and storylines, sidekicks and storylines for Heroes in Metro City, is that you have on your game board, you have superpowers to activate, and you need to build up energy, or you have your energy sources, and you'd stick them in your little slots on your game board, and have those ready available, so that you'd have enough energy to cast activate your superpowers. And so the main difference being, you could activate the powers as soon as you have the energy available, instead of waiting a full turn to cast them, like in Aeon's End. So, but you had prep stations basically for it. So it looks like you have dividers here. They're nice. And a nice little box. I've transferred everything to like a card box. So I don't have everything in the original boxes anymore. I can tell you now, these are a lot higher quality. I have Shadowrift, the first edition one. So you got really like, I don't know if the artwork has improved, but the quality of the card stock has actually improved quite a bit, like by 1,000%. Glossy. There's pictures on them. The original dividers are just plain white with the names of the scenarios and the cards that they suggest go with it, with each scenario. There was no artwork. It was just plain like beige colored with print on it, black print. So there's that. Oh, and this was originally priced at $40. I don't know what the MSRP is, but knowing that it's from Game Salute and they didn't give stores any particular like wholesale discounts and whatnot, it probably MSRP'd at like $35 or something. So they dropped it down to $5. So my brother picked it up while he happened to be at the store, and I mean, that's like, why not? Even if let's say I'm just collecting the game, $5. Why not just grab it? Wow. So there's a lot of stuff in here. Basically, you got 3 decks worth of cards. Nice and thick. I mean, a lot of cards. So, oh shoot! You know what I think about? These kind of look like standard cards. I don't have sleeves for these. I sleeved my Shadowrift, and I had to use the Euro sleeves, and they're like almost perfect fit card sleeves. Back then they were pretty expensive. I think they were Mayday sleeves they got for them. And I had to special order them because at the time, I think let's see. Well, I got Shadowrift. When I got the sleeves, I got them for Heroes of Metro City, which were actually the Euro style sleeves. It's really interesting because Heroes of Metro City was a game, I believe, that was designed by 2 American guys, brothers, right? But they used Euro style sleeves or Euro sized cards, and I actually had to, they were expensive and they were not super high quality sleeves, so it really bugged me that I had to buy that many. Anyway, these look like standard, more like Magic sized cards, and I don't remember. I just vaguely remember having to use similar cards for Shadow. And so now I have to find the same brand that I used for them, basically. And then I'll need to buy several of them. See, there are like several packages. Yeah, so it says 193 new cards, 6 ArchFiends, 630 card decks, 7 hero titles, and a rulebook. So 200 cards, that's at least 4 packs of, because I don't think they make penny versions of the sleeves I got, and I don't think I use penny sleeves for my cards. I mean, I do for the majority of my cards, but my card games, because come on, I mean, personally, I use card sleeves to protect the cards from people wanting to eat chips while we play games, because I like to snack while we play. And then instead of being the jerk asking people to wash their hands every time we play a game, just sleeve up the cards. No big deal. Let's open some of these up and see some of this good stuff. And maybe I can sleeve these before I go to work tonight. So ArchFiends. I almost wanted to say that maybe it plays. I haven't seen the gameplay of it at all. I tried looking on YouTube and I couldn't really find anything on ArchFiends. I wish the artwork was better, to be honest. I think on the Shadowrift 2.0, I think the artwork had been improved. But even then, I think there's other games with much better artwork. So, we have... Where are these? Okay, so these are the 6... 2, 3. These are 6 monsters. You got, let's see, Torsolesh, Lord Winter, Marzos, Neviros, and the Forgotten King, and Titan. That's the last one. So there's those. So they're up on one side, or one, like, they're not mixed up in everything. So it makes me wonder if, like, do they have cards specific to the monster? I'll have to read the rules, but it looks like, you know, because like in the original Shadowrift, they had the dragon, and they had the Lich King, right? And a bunch of skeletons and things, or the Necromancer is what it was, not the Lich King. You know, they had the ice demon, whatever that was, frost giant or whatever, that froze everything. So they have here, looks like some kind of undead thing. They have a symbol here of, like, looks like a hand. There, like a dead hand coming out of the ground. But that looks like a dinosaur there. So who knows? Quick meal. Then they have these fire, got a fire symbol there. So what do these? Then they have this thing, that symbol. Anything else? Decay. Decay is a fire symbol. You think something like that would have that hand coming out of the ground looking symbol. Okay, so that's 3 different kinds of symbols on the top right. So I don't know if there's a separation for that. Slay travelers, right? So none of that's good stuff. It'd be nice if there were more travelers, right? Now, I know there's a new expansion coming out for 2nd edition, but I'm not going to be buying 2nd edition. We have to see about getting 1st edition to the table more often. I've played it by myself a few times. You can play it by yourself. You just have to, you know, play 2 hands by yourself. I don't know if there's a solo variant. I never bothered looking for one, but I think maybe I will look for one now. Cards are pretty nice. I mean, I think they're no different from the card quality of the original game. Let's see. Yep. Just the same 3 symbols. I don't see anything new here. Just a lot of cards. Alright, so it looks like I'll have to be separating those, but see, you can see they got like this thing with a Dark Siege. That circular symbol, demonic resilience. So it sounds like this is all geared towards the arch enemies, thus, or hence the arch enemy subtitle. There's a fire symbol. Okay. And then we have. Now, again, I'm not going to do an unboxing of Battlestar Galactica because, who knows, maybe. I'm not a huge fan of scalpers, but I mean, I'm not doing it just simply to make a profit. I'm not considering it. I mean, yeah, I am. I mean, that's why I'm considering it, just for a profit. But I mean, I'm also like, I'm kind of like unemployed right now, so so I mean, I couldn't resist. It's $40. I keep seeing all over the place like, oh no, Noble Knight has it for like $30, but when I look, it's actually not the same thing. It's some other some Battlestar Galactica game based on the old series, right? And it's like, it's a board game. I mean, the one I got is a board game too, but it's mostly like a social deduction game, right? The one where many of us are familiar with, that it's based on the new series or the reboot. So I kind of wish I could get the other. I wish I had more money, right? Then I would not have realized late, because I think I realized it pretty late, that the game looks like it's no longer going to be in print. Either that or Fantasy Flight is waiting a real long time to build up demand for the game. So if I had more money, if I were not so strapped for cash, I would be like continuously shopping for other cool stuff, and maybe I could have picked up at least the expansions that I'm really interested in. I played the game with Battlestar Galactica with all the expansions, because I know someone who has all the expansions, but I could grab the ones the few I liked, right, without blinking, without a second thought. I'd be like, well, I think I have $100 to spend, and I can pick up the core set and one expansion. Maybe I'll spring for the second expansion. But now, the core set sell for at least $150 on Amazon, and some other sites. eBay has them, on bid. I don't know what the reserve is, or if there is one, but I saw one that a new auction that started at $31, but who knows? Like, they're probably expecting the bidding to skyrocket for that thing. It's got 5 more days left in the auction. But yeah, some of the Exodus and Pegasus expansions are like $200 a piece, sometimes $300. So it's like, and you can't even play those without the core set. So obviously, those are like people just, looking to profit. Probably buying up all the stock, whatever's left. I bought Naruto. It was used. Some of the cards were damaged. Like whoever had it before, for some reason, some of the corners were peeled back, and you could see they were black core cards. So yeah, and I bought that for $60, a damaged copy of an out of print deck building game, but I really wanted it. And it's actually I think it's one of the better sets out there. And I know a lot of people who like the cartoon, so it's easy to bring out to the table. My girlfriend she doesn't watch the cartoon, but she likes the artwork. So anyway, so that's Shadowrift and the Watchmen. Well, not the Watchmen, but Watchmen. Simply Watchmen expansion crossover pack to DC Deck Builder, to the superhero one, and I'm really excited to try these things out. I think I mentioned to my brother that the Watchmen had a solo variant on it. I think it's just a social deduction one, and co-op variant. So like real co-op, not like unless you can score the most points type thing, but like because it has those challenges that you have to be able to overcome, the different challenge levels. Yeah, I think these are great additions to the games I have, and having been between jobs, I mean, I'm working now, but it's like really not. It's not full time work, so having having to go from like just buying games just because I felt like it, making blind purchases, and maybe not. I've had a pretty good history of getting stuff that I personally like, and I think are pretty good games that maybe don't get like a fair shake sometimes. But instead of having that like 20%, game looks good but it's kind of crummy type thing, I've been having to be forced to really look at the games I have and see what I'm playing again. I even indulged. I had a bunch of Google rewards credit, and I usually use that to buy music, or like purchase apps that I don't want to actually pay actual money out of my pocket for. But I guess I'm always glad to sell my personal information or make up some stuff for some rewards money. I had like $5, and I picked up the two board game stats apps, the Board Game Geek one and the one that's actual board game stats. And I like them. I've been using the board game stats, and I spent a little extra for to unlock all the paid for content. I did not pay for the online sync. I don't think that's really necessary, even though it's 99 cents a year. But yeah, anyway, so I have my 10 by 10 challenges, and it actually gives me a little incentive to play some stuff I just sort of pushed to the back of my shelf. Check those out. They're great apps, and there's a little bit of something for everyone between the two. I have them both. I think those are the two main ones. I looked at a few other ones that were just not very good. Those are two main ones. You basically decide if you want to pay up front for an app, or if you want to try the free one and get whatever the one you pay for, the board game stats one. You pay for that up front, and you get a bunch of stuff right off the bat. If you get the Board Game Geek one, it's free to download, but to get all the good stuff that you get, or a lot of the good stuff that you get with the other app, you pay a lot more for. Anyways, my time's run out, so hope you enjoyed all my banter. Till next time. Talk to you guys later.